everyone, welcome to Vlogmas Day 18. So Kim and I have not had much of a chance to catch up lately. I've been traveling and then getting back, and I've just been tired. In fact, last night I fell asleep at 7 p.m., which could have been really, really bad, but I ended up sleeping till 5, so I slept for 10 hours. I really haven't had jet lag, but it was a 7-hour time difference, so I've just been a little off. Anyway, slept well and went to the gym this morning and came home and made some butternut squash soup. And then because I'm primarily vegetarian, I make my husband meals for lunch that are meat-based, so that when it comes to dinner time, he's not disappointed to have vegetables or something vegetarian. So anyway, that works out well for us. So I did that, and I surprised my daughter with not a pumpkin spice latte, but a yam latte, which is a specialty of a coffee shop here in town. So yeah, and I ended up watching Leo for a little bit. He's the baby, so that they could go on a nature walk. They live at the end of a cul-de-sac, and behind them is Army Corps of Engineer land. So there's a creek down there, so they walked down to the creek and found some fossils and shells and rocks and all kinds of things. So anyway, they had a great time. So that was fun and unexpected. And let's see, where am I going with all this? Yes, I caught up with Kim today a little bit. We FaceTimed. She was in the car coming home from school. She is working frantically. Well, not frantically. I would say she's working very diligently on her final project, her end of semester project, which is a film for her film class. And so we talked a little bit about that, which reminded me of finals time and not getting out of bed, spending all day in my pajamas in bed, working, very intimately one Christmas with Ebola. So that was, a lot of my exams were actually papers. So yeah, I'm kind of glad to be past that stage of my life. So although I love learning, I love studying, if school was free, I would probably still be in school. So anyway, long story short, we caught up a little bit and talked a little bit about what is going on in our lives. So that was really nice. Talked a little bit about Vlogmas and how we're going to end it and all that. So hopefully we can do that together with split screen or whatever. I don't know. We'll see. So I wanted to tell you today about our last day in Germany. So I knew that there was a Christmas market at this palace, and it's called Schloss Charlottenburg. And we took an Uber there, an Uber cab or something. And so the German word Schloss actually translates to castle, but we didn't see a castle, we saw a palace, which, led me down this kind of rabbit hole of the difference between a palace and a castle, which is not something I think about very often, I have to say. But to me, a castle is like what they have at Disneyland, like Snow White's castle. But more than that, it's a fortress. It's, perched up high. It's got high turrets so that, you can look out and see your enemy coming, and a moat and all that. So anyway, we did not see a castle. We saw a palace, which is a fancy, lavish residence for a king and a queen. So this palace was built for Sophie Charlotte and King Frederick I, who was self-proclaimed king in Prussia, which is different from King of Prussia. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that he proclaimed himself king in Prussia. So they lived in this beautiful palace, which we toured. We took the tour. So it was self-guided. And they had a beautiful chapel. I'll put in a little bit of footage. I did actually take a lot of video inside, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that interesting. I thought the house was interesting. I didn't think the video was very good. So that's just my fault. But I will put in a little bit of footage of the chapel that was inside the palace, which was extraordinary. It was just, it was very beautiful. And then we toured the gardens a little bit, just walked around. It was cold. that was the first day we saw sun, actually. So it was morning, there was sun, but it was quite chilly. And the Christmas market, we're waiting for the Christmas market to open. So that's why we did the tour of the castle, and then we knew that there was a really nice Christmas market at the Schloss. So I took video at the Christmas market also, but many of the booths shared, well, they all use the same lighting, and when I took a video of it, it kind of was stroby, and so I just didn't want to post any of that. So I don't have too much footage of the Christmas market, but we had, I think I did have a white glue vine, even though it was like noon, but you know, Christmas time, Germany, you know, whatever. Anyway, it was fine. I actually wanted to take the mug home. So you can return the mug for a deposit that you pay in advance, or you can just keep the mug. So that's what I did. I wanted a mug from that particular Christmas market. So anyway, had a really nice time. I don't think we bought anything tangible at that Christmas market. But then we got in an Uber and drove to the first of 2 yarn shops that we went to that day, which was Wollen. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It's Wollen. It is a yarn shop inside this courtyard. So we got dropped off by the Uber driver, who is fantastic, by the way. It was this woman, a German woman, but she's previously from Nigeria, or originally from Nigeria. And her sister happened to be getting married on Saturday, so this was Friday, and she ended up inviting us to her sister's wedding. So we were bummed. We totally would have gone. So yeah, it was really fun experience. So she was really great. Anyway, so we get dropped off and we're looking around. We have, you know, couldn't find the store, but it was through these gates and there was this courtyard amongst these buildings, and we eventually found it, obviously. But it's a beautiful store. It's a really, really great store. It was just jam-packed from floor to ceiling, all kinds of brands. They had their own linen yarn, which I ended up buying. I'll take a picture of it and put it in here, or at the end. I gave Teddy a bone, but he's having some kind of relationship with the bone. I don't know. He seems to be unhappy. Anyway, so yeah, I bought some linen yarn, and then they had Fiocolana, they had Jamieson and Smith, they had some Sandnes yarn, they had Cardiff cashmere, classic cashmere, just some Gepard yarn, just fantastic brands. They had a lot of the petite knit accessories. So I got a handbag handle, and I got some little scissors because I had these dumb little scissors with like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch blade, and they just basically don't work. They basically just chew the yarn. So I got some cute little petite knit scissors. I also got some hand dyed in Germany, some sock yarn. And for the heels, cuffs, and toes, I got some orange Arvetta, Piccolana Arvetta. So my husband picked that out. He loves orange. So it's definitely not my jam, these cotton candy kind of socks. But anyway, I thought the yarn was beautiful. So I'll find a way to wear them. They're like hot pink. Yeah, but I just thought that the yarn was beautiful. So they were super helpful. I ended up buying needles for my cowl/poncho project that I'm working on. And I loved the store. It was a really great store. So anyway, I have some pictures so you can check it out. And then we left there and got a little coffee around the corner at this coffee shop called Circle Coffee. It was amazing. And before we left the store, she's like, "Oh, are you going to Yarn Over Berlin?" And I said, "Oh yeah, that's our next stop." So she said, "Oh, well, you can totally take the O-Bahn." So there's the S-Bahn and the O-Bahn. I thought the S-Bahn was only above ground and the O-Bahn was below ground, but I don't think that's 100% true. So anyway, we're like, okay, but the ticket machines actually, you can convert to English. So we got that figured out. She told us what station to get off on. So we took basically the subway, the German subway, to the next destination, which was really fun. I loved the subway in New York, so anyway, it was great. So we get out, and again, had to do a little bit of recon and figure out where the shop was, because it was also, Teddy just dropped his bone off the stairs. It was also in a courtyard. So I'll put a picture of the cute little sign, but so there's a sign, yarn over Berlin this way. So we walked into the little courtyard, and by then it was definitely dusk, if not, dark. So they had lights in there. It was really, really quaint. So we walk into Yarn Over Berlin. We have a fantastic selection. Different yarn though than from Wollen, which was great because, there was lots to look at. I have to say they probably had the most yarn produced in Germany, yarn dyed in Germany. And so I'll put some pictures here, but just a really cool selection of local yarn, as well as some of the big brands like Biche Bouche and La Bien-Aimée, and many brands that I'm not remembering right now. But the fun thing about this store, so when we walk in, there is a man buying yarn, and he has this one skein of gray speckled yarn in his hand. And turns out it is a special colorway called the Wall, in reference to the wall that divided East and West Germany. And of course, I'm like, oh, souvenir yarn, it's sock yarn, and it's locally dyed by Frida Fuchs. And I said, oh, do you have more of that? And he said, oh no, this is just a one-off or one skein that she dyed just for me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. But he said, here, have it. If you want to buy this one, I live here, so I can just order another one. So I was like, oh, you're sure? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. So I go up to the register to pay for the yarn so that he can get his yarn because he'd already paid for it. And the owner of the store says, he knitted the studio in episode 100 of Fruity Knitting. And I knew exactly what she was talking about when she said that, because someone, a fan of the show, knit an exact replica of where Andrew and Andrea sit on the couch in there, and you can see the dining room behind them, complete with like a bowl of fruit and a little tiny sweater that was a replica of the one that she was knitting. It's just amazing. And so I, of course, was like gushing all over the place. And his name is Florian, and he does have a Ravelry. And so, yeah, if you're curious, go back and watch episode 100 of Fruity Knitting, where they talk about the studio that a fan knit them. So anyway, it was so fun to meet him. And I actually, came home with his skein of yarn called The Wall, dyed by Frida Fuchs. So anyway, it was a really, really fun day. Besides getting invited to a Nigerian wedding, and meeting Florian and seeing these just two beautiful yarn stores. So it was a really, really fun last day. I just wanted to open day 18 of our Twice Sheared Sheep advent calendar. And this is heavy. Yeah, I have no idea what it is. Not making any noise. Okay. Let's see, oops. It is Twice Sheared Sheep Build-A-Sock Blocking Kit. Okay. It says, choose a combination of heel, spacer pieces, and a toe that add up to a similar foot length as your sock. And it comes in small, medium, and large. So you basically, I think I've seen these in wood before, but this one looks like it's a hard acrylic, or I'm not sure what it is. It's a kind of plastic, I guess. It's a turquoise, sparkly, hard plastic, and that fit together like puzzle pieces, so that you can make a custom sock blocker to fit your foot. So thank you. I know the packaging is really crinkly, so I won't open it, but anyway, thank you, Twice Sheared Sheep.